Carroll Quigley, writing for Tragedy and Hope, he was commissioned by the U.S. government for high-level State Department employees to actually understand the globalist agenda so that they could carry out this operation against us. The argument that the two parties should represent opposed ideas and policies, one perhaps on the right and the other on the left, is a foolish idea, acceptable only to the doctrine and academic thinkers. Instead, the two parties should be almost identical so that the American people can throw the rascals out, in quotes, at any election without leading to any profound or extreme shifts in policy. And we're already seeing the Republicans that have gotten into office, the leadership, continuing everything. But so much of it is just lies. I mean, the public doesn't even understand how big corporations work, so you try to tell them, hey, insurance companies wrote the health care bill. It's a fact. The health care lobbyist head was for it. They wrote it. You tell them that, they're like, shut up, you work for the insurance companies. The oil companies, the big mega companies, wrote the carbon tax takeover because they're owned by the banks. You tell the average liberal that, they just cannot listen to you because they're brain damaged. They're brainwashed, just like a mainline conservative. You explain to them that big agribusiness wrote the takeover of the farms and ranches, this Food Safety Act. They won't go check that that's a fact and that big agribusiness bankrolled it. Liberals think big government's there to help them. Conservatives think big corporations are there to help them. They don't know big corporations created big government to give them government power to rob you. Going back to Charlotte Iserby, I just want to point out, folks, that there's only 800 of these books, and I'm kind of shocked because looks like we've already sold 20% of them in the last 50 minutes. I mean, this book's basically been pretty much out of print, and Charlotte's been selling them again on her site, but now we've bought them all, and they're available discounted at Infowars.com or 888-253-3139. Every educator needs to have this. Every school board needs to be shown this. This is their internal documents. This is the smoking gun proof. This is how we bring the criminals to justice. The average person won't believe this stuff because it's so outlandish, but look at what our country's begun. I mean, look what it's turned into. No dodgeball, no chase, no hugging. It's prisoner training.
Oh, yeah, it really is. And, Alex, I think that I'm so glad that you have bought the remaining copies. And I would recommend for these books should be going into the hands of, there are good educators out there, and make sure they get into the hands of good educators and legislators who are on education committees in your state legislatures, because, as I said, it's going to be very, very difficult, and we may not win this battle. But the only way we can go right now is to try to hold on to the traditional structure of the school with the superintendent, the elected school board.
Well, Charlotte, look what happened a year ago.
And a K through 12 curriculum. Let me point out, the new curriculum that's going into Maine, it's terrible. It's going to, some students will graduate at 14 years old and some at 21. There will be no grades anymore. I mean, K through 12.
No summer?
No A, B, C, D. It's all school to work.
No summer?
What?
They're trying to get rid of summer education, but look how they're also in Illinois and California. Remember that case 2 years ago where the state announced, we own your children, you can't homeschool? I mean, that shows their mindset.
Well, yeah, and so the thing is, we've got to go all the way back, get rid of the Department of Ed in Washington, get rid of your State Department of Ed in your state. Once Americans understand what they're doing right now, and they're using school choice to do it, do not forget that, folks. That's the key. They're using that. It's the most evil deceit. In my career, ever since I went abroad and came back and went through everything I've been through, this is the most evil deceit.
Well, Charlotte, stay there. We got a break. 1 minute, final segment. We're going to have you pop in again next week before you go out of town. This is so important. I want to explain to people how they are federalizing, corporatizing schools.